Hey, the guy from Reddit that you asked for some help on. So what I'm going to do is that it looks like most of these questions fall into two categories. Well, it's more like three categories divided into some other. All right. Let me back up. Most of these questions are discussing about parallel and perpendicular lines. Now, assuming you're in the United States, most likely all of your linear equations are expected to end up in this format of, oops, sorry, I can't find the pen that works on this laptop. So y equals mx plus b. Okay, I apologize. I'm going to use my finger, so it's not going to be as neat as I was hoping it was going to be. Um, so almost all of your equations are expected to end up in that format. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just take a quick moment and look at all the questions that you sent me. You'll notice, and I'm looking at my phone over to the side, that questions 1 through 3 already all fall under that format, okay? So that means that these are going to be even easier to do, all right? The next 3 questions are going to be a little bit harder, but honestly not that much harder, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do questions 1, and it looks like 4, okay? Because that should get you both subgroups, okay? So a couple things we need to talk about before I start diving into the question is we are mainly talking about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. So first, you need to understand what is the difference between a parallel line and a perpendicular line, okay? So here's what I want you to think about real fast. We have some xy axis, okay, where this is our x, this is our y, okay? Sorry, my handwriting is just really bad with having to use my finger here, all right? And we have some line, okay? So let's just, I'm not going to get too deep into the numbers here. We're just going to have this red line, okay? And we're going to say that it has a slope, an m value of 3/2, okay? So then let's say I wanted to draw another line, and we're going to put this line in blue, okay? And this line that's going to be in blue, I want it to be parallel. That means I want it to have the same slope. That means in general, its steepness, all that stuff is the exact same. Now I'm doing this with my fingers, so it's not perfect, but you can see that they would, so this says 3/2, blue m equals 3/2, okay? You can see that these two lines then would never ever intersect. They would never cross, okay? So that's a key component of parallel lines. It's the fact that the slope, m equals 3/2 and m equals 3/2 is the same. If you have two linear equations and they're in this nice format y equals mx plus b, then you can just look at the m values. If the m values are the same, you can say they're parallel. Now there's a small caveat there. If the m values are the same and the b values are the same, the y-intercept is the same, then that means that they are actually the exact same line. Okay, that means they cross an infinite number of times. But you can just kind of put that in your back pocket for later. All right. So then, now I'm going to make another line, and this line, I'm going to do this line in purple, okay? And this line is going to be perpendicular. It's actually going to be perpendicular to both, but just focus on the red line. It's going to be perpendicular to the red line. So it would look something like that. Now, if my finger weren't so bad at drawing, I would have 4 right angles right here, okay? Because when two perpendicular lines intersect, they intersect perpendicularly. That means they make up 4 right angles, all right? Now, what does that mean about their m values? Because that's what this whole lesson is about, is really identifying the slope of a line, parallel and perpendicular, through the value in the algebraic expression, okay? Well, look at what this purple line's done. You can't see me. I'm doing this with my fingers. Look at what the purple line has done compared to the red line. Basically, it's like the red line has been flipped and adjusted, okay? It's almost like it's been flipped and flipped. So it ends up being a negative 2/3. We call that a negative reciprocal, okay? That's something you want to jot down. If you don't have notes, you want to write down negative reciprocal. All right, I'm running out of space over here. That says reciprocal. You're just going to have to deal with my handwriting, okay? So that is a negative reciprocal. So what that means is that lines that are perpendicular, their slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. So in this example that I just randomly showed you, this slope of 3/2, well, if I was to flip it and change its sign, so 3/2 is positive, so it's going to change to being negative, and then it flips to 2/3. That would be the negative reciprocal. So parallel lines, same slope. Perpendicular lines, negative reciprocal slopes. All right, so with that idea, let's dive into some problems here. Okay, so in our very first problem, it says write the equation of a line parallel to y equals 3/2 x minus 2. All right, oh, I'm sorry, that's not a half, it's a fifth. Okay, my apologies. 3/5 x. All right, so what did I just say a second ago? That's right, the parallel lines have the same slope. So what's the slope from this given equation right here? Just tell me that. Hopefully you just thought this idiot is 3/5. Why is he asking me questions? I can't actually respond, okay? So if the slope is 3/5, all right, for this line, and I want to have a line that is parallel to it, what do I know the slope's going to be? That's right, 3/5. So first off, we're going to write our new equation now in, let's do orange, okay? So we have some new equations, not completely done, where it's 3/5 because we know they're supposed to be parallel. So we know the slope should be the same, 3/5 x plus b. Now the other trick and the other piece of information in the problem you want to use to find the b value. So they give us a point. They give us the point 5, 6. So 5, 6. Okay. Now it's important to remember that this is x and this is a y. This is one x and one y from this line's infinite possible number of points. Okay, this is just one point. This 5, 6 is just one point. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I was just trying to, oh, okay. So what have I just done? Okay, so let me erase this, this, and this. Okay, sorry, I thought I could use my back feature faster. Okay, I'm running out of time on my free 15 minutes of recording here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take this x value, plug it in for x. Take this y value, plug it in for y. Okay, so we're going to say 6 because that was the y value equals 3/5 times 5 plus b. Okay, now we're going to isolate and solve for b. Okay, so what is 3/5 times 5? Well, you know this is 5 over 1, and you know that when you multiply fractions, top to top, bottom to bottom, but since we're multiplying tops and bottoms, that means that this top can cancel out with that bottom. So those 5s cancel out and become 1s. So you get 3 times 1 over 1 times 1. Okay, 3 times 1 is just 3. So I'm going to have to scroll down here. Hopefully I can do this without really messing everything up. Oh. Okay, let's go back to this. All right, so we still have the 6. We're just carrying the 6 down. The 3 times the 1 gives me 3 over 1 times 1. What is 3 over 1 times 1? What's 1 times 1 first? Just 1. What is 3 over 1? That's right, just 3 plus b. So I need to now solve for b. So I subtract 3 on both sides, and I get 3 equals b. So now I already have my m value and I already have my b value, and those are the only two unknowns that I wanted to actually plug in. So my final answer is y equals 3/5 x plus 3. Boom, there's the answer. Okay, all right, so let's move on now to the next one, which you said, oh, it's not letting me, I'm gonna pause the video so I can erase all this. Okay, so in our next question, it says write the equation of line perpendicular to that same line, so it's still y equals 3/5 x minus 2, okay? But now, instead of being parallel, they want to be perpendicular. So currently, the slope from this line is m equals 3/5. So first, answer this. What would be a slope perpendicular to the slope of 3/5? Well, hopefully you know that it's a negative reciprocal, so it's positive, so it's going to become negative, and then you're going to flip the 3/5 to being 5/3. Okay, so now we know that y is going to equal negative 5/3 x plus b. I put 3x. Okay, no! Using my finger here is really challenging. Okay, so 5/3 x. There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to repeat the same process that we did in the last problem. We're going to take the point they gave me, which was negative 3, 3. Okay, so they gave me the point negative 3, 3. And we're going to take this x value and plug it in for x. and this y value and plug it in for y. So we're going to say 3 is equal to negative 5/3 times negative 3 plus b. Okay, so once again, we're going to use this shortcut because we know this negative 3 can go over 1. Okay, so we know then that these 3's can cancel. Well, and by cancel, what I mean is they're dividing, and 3 over 3 is 1. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So they both become a 1. Now remember, when you multiply in fractions, you multiply top to top, bottom to bottom. So we have a negative 5 times a negative 1, which hopefully you're like, oh, I know that. Oh, I didn't erase them down here. Which hopefully you're like, oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. So negative 5 times negative 1 is just 5. 1 times 1 is just 1. So 5 over 1 is just 5 plus b. Subtract the 5 from both sides, and we get negative 2. So then our final answer is y equals negative 5/3 x minus 2. Boom, perfect. And we're done with those two problems. Okay, so I only got 4 minutes. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit in another problem on this video. So I'm going to pause here, and I'll make another video for the next problem. Okay.